We're here. Yes, we are. We are plugged in and ready to go. It's Saturday, the 16th of February here in Sydney, Australia, 2019. And you're listening to the Crazz Files podcast with Adam. And everything's up on my website, crazzfiles.com, C-R-A-Z-Z, crazzfiles.com. You can get so much there, so please check it out. Lots of great articles going up, lots of great original content going up there lately to read and have a look into and help share that information. Lots of videos, podcasts, and all of that. So always updating the site. It's a very popular site, does very well. So all the followers out there, keep plugging in. It's great to have you. And you can get the podcast over at iTunes, on the YouTube channel, the Crazz Files, Facebook, Twitter, and also Real.video. There's some great news feed widgets on my website as well. You can have a look at Nexus Newsfeed Australia, see what's going up there, Renegade Tribune. Please make comments on the website to the articles as well. Turn it into your own blog. Blog away. I love the comments. Let me know what you think. And you can contact me through the website as well at the Crazzfiles at mail.com. But that's all on there, connected. All right, we're ready to go. Finally, Tony Sayers is plugging in with me again today.
Hi, Adam.
How you going, Tony? It's good to finally get going here. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been really well, thank you. Thanks for letting me back on the show, and looking forward to getting into some deep stuff today and seeing what we can uncover.
And just first, you're overseas again, traveling around, of course. So we had a few connection problems, as you do. It's very hard. We're connecting with you today overseas, so we have a few little problems, but we're plugged in now. It's all working.
Yeah. I'm over in Costa Rica now, so I've gone from one end of the earth to another, to try and find the small remaining pockets of freedom that are left in this crazy world that we live in. So apologies for the connection, but you know how it is, and sure it'll be good.
It's a sad thing for humans to have to kind of shift around and move to find freedom when we should already be entitled to that and have it at home, shouldn't we? We should be all comfortable, and I just feel like that sometimes. I wish they would just leave us all alone and let us live our damn lives, But I guess we're all here for a reason. We decided to come back to this earth realm to learn, and this is your journey, and I'm on mine. We're all on our own. But wow, Costa Rica, that's amazing. I've spent a lot of time in South America, but not up that way. I had a friend that went there and said it was beautiful. Yeah, a beautiful place.
It's all like they're very big on organic and eco-friendly, and everything's eco-friendly. So for that it's good. It's a lot more expensive than Southeast Asia and that area, but that's taken a bit of getting used to. But it's early signs are good. So I'm just in this quiet little place, which is kind of out the way after the Christmas silly season back in the UK.
Yeah. I've heard that about Costa Rica. Must be a really, really beautiful place. Are you near the coast at all, or are you more inland?
No, I'm actually I'm looking at a volcano at the moment. Funnily enough, I'm inland. I'm in the mountains. I love the mountains, and this region's really rich in wildlife. There's like kind of birds of prey just circling just over to the left, and a big volcano to the right. So it's a very beautiful area that I'm in at the moment, and the plan is to kind of head towards the coast towards the end of the month.
Very nice. Yeah, sounds beautiful. Is it cooler where you are, or is it quite humid?
No, it's a lot more cooler than Thailand. It's a lot less humid, but the heat's quite direct. And because of my British tones, I can't be in it for too long before I get burnt. But it's nice to see the sun. In the UK they block it out, as you know. So it's good to have it.
I think you would like southern Chile as well, down in the Lakes District towards Patagonia and Aysén, down to northern Patagonia is just absolutely beautiful, with the mountains and volcanoes and rushing streams and and forests and lakes, hardly any population, just so clean and beautiful. It's a really magnificent place down there, even towards Argentina as well. But I spent a lot of time down in southern Chile, and the northern deserts too. Up in the Atacama Desert is out of control. It's absolutely beautiful. It looks like the moon, and you get out to the high altiplano, and there's these huge volcanoes out there with these blue lakes, and it's just absolutely amazing. And you get down to Santiago and then further south, and it becomes sort of like New Zealand, South Island, or Alaska or something like that. It's really wild, absolutely gorgeous, and people are very open-minded, and you can kind of do what you more of what you want there, even though they did have a dictatorship in the 70s with
by the UK.
Pinochet, what they did to the Chilean people, and the president Salvador Allende, I think it was at that time, was horrific. And you can see the old black and white photos, and you can see Bush Sr. and there's Henry Kissinger all around the table planning on what they were going to do to that country. They're into Venezuela now. There's been a lot of problems in that part of the world, in Central and South America, always trying to destabilize them in those regions. They won't leave them alone and let them live their lives, and it's a great part of the world.
Well, I actually went to Venezuela a few years ago, and I tell you what, that country should be stinking rich. It is just a big, massive oil well. And of course, they're so poor over there. They're eating each other's pets. That's the last I heard. But now, of course, they've got a US-backed president that's gone in there. So the tentacles get in everywhere, don't they? So.
That's right. They've really got their claws in there now. It's a real shame. Third richest oil country in the world. Beautiful place. That's a shame.
Beautiful place, lovely people, and it's just another country that with oil that they're going to take over, isn't it? So
I guess they'll starve them so badly and bring them down to such a poor level, and then come in and take their oil, and then say, look, we'll give you a little bit back so you can be comfortable again, but we're going to take your oil.
Yeah, exactly. Well, either that, or they might need a big dose of freedom soon, and you know what that means.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It happens down in those regions, believe me. There was a civil war over water in Bolivia, and because they tried to privatize their water, and they were throwing rocks, and they ended up winning too. The guy ran away. The president there, they had big change. It's a bit unstable in those countries, even in Chile. You can be there, and next thing you know, there's tear gas and police on the streets and water cannons because the students don't like something. But the thing is, they do fight back. In Australia, we don't fight back. Everyone just sits on their hands and takes it, and they just we're run by criminals. The same as you guys over there in the UK. We're all run by criminals. But those people over there, they got guts and they fight back. Let's hope Venezuela can get their country in order.
I definitely hope so.
Yeah. Anyway, Tony, We'll talk today about your great website and books, Transcending Times. As we did on the last show, we were talking about all your great books, and we were kind of sparring about that. And then towards the end of the show, we were talking about a little bit of artificial intelligence and where technology is going and how we're becoming so embedded in that. And AI and everything, and so that's another great podcast to do sometime when you're comfortable. But we did finish, I think, around the pornography issue, which is a heavy one, and not a lot of people want to talk about this. And I haven't found many people who have had the courage to write books on it. You see documentaries, and you see them talking about pornography and the porn addiction and everything. With kids and all this stuff, but they're very tame and lame, they don't really expose anyone or go into the really deeper issues here. But you've written a book on it. It's called Plugged Into Porn by Tony Sayers. There you go. And I think this is important, especially for men. Let's talk about this today in the time that we have, this book that you've done and why you did it and what's going on here.
Yeah, okay. Happy to speak about it. Yeah, it is an issue that really needs to be put out there because, yeah, nobody's talking about it. It's so multifaceted. This whole pornography society that we live in. I mean, my journey with it started a few years back. You know what it's like as you begin to see the truths of the world. You kind of peel back and you try and make changes in your life that realign with what you've learned, or hopefully most people do. And so, you know, first of all, it was the diet and things like that, stuff like that left. Then the alcohol went, and then I just one day I don't know what I was doing, but I was on YouTube, and something came up in my suggested videos about nofap, and I thought, well, what's nofap then? And basically, it's a whole movement of men. I think there is one for women as well, that are refraining from masturbation, basically, and the kind of health benefits that they're experiencing from that, and by holding on to the seed, by holding on to your seed, because you think about it, that what is in your semen has the ability to create another life, so it's extremely powerful. And with obviously the whole porn masturbation thing, you know, you're throwing it away, and you're losing that life force energy. And basically this was about how, you know, by refraining from that, you actually get, over time, a lot of different benefits, both mentally, health, physically. It rewires the neurons in the brain. It can really give you that extra 10, 15, 20% to your day in terms of productivity, energy, and sort of more clarity over purpose and where you're going in life. And I just found the whole thing really interested. And, you know, I've never been an addict or anything in that respect, but, you know, we're all men, you know, we've all done it. I'm sure we have anyway. And I just thought, do you know what? That really resonates. That really resonates, the fact that that whole, you know, throwing that seed away would just take something away from you. And I could really see how by not doing that, it would give something back. And there's loads and loads of videos online. You just type in nofap and you'll come across some of these men that are reporting all these remarkable changes. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to give that a go. Yeah, so over the course of, you know, the first few months, to say, it's not always easy. And as time goes by, interestingly enough, you do start to feel quite different. And I can absolutely 100% relate to what these men are saying about the difference in how you feel, the energy, the confidence it gives you. And so it started from there, really. So I've been a big propagator of, you know, we shouldn't be doing that, but not just for our own health reasons. It's also the destruction of the divine feminine energy, because we know that throughout history they've always tried to demonize the divine feminine. The divine feminine is the life bringer. She's the carer, the nurturer. She's gonna birth a world of peace. So, you know, these occultists are always trying to demonize the feminine, and how best to do that? You know, pornography. You know, make women seem like objects that are just there to be used for sex, and they are as good as they're useful. So by partaking in pornography, we're giving our energy away to this distorted bastardization of the feminine. And I don't know, I'm not going to ask you personally, but there's a lot of guilt once we do that act. You know, it's really not worth it when you're considering the how long it lasts for. But often afterwards, there's a tinge of guilt with it. And it's my theory that this guilt is something to do with, we kind of know it's wrong on a deeper subconscious level. We know it's wrong. It's not right. And and so it's like I say, it's multifaceted. It's a bastardization of the feminine, pornography. It's encouraging men to throw away their seed to make them less, I guess, energetic. Takes away that masculine, not completely, but it takes away something from men. At a time where we need men to be real men in our strength and in our power. And if you're giving away 25% a day, that's a lot. And I tell you what, I can tell you it's a lot because I noticed the difference of not doing it. So there's that level to it as well. And going even deeper and metaphysical, and people that follow my work may have heard me talk about this before, but obviously we're sharing this space with another dimension very close to us, where there's parasites, entities, interdimensionals, whatever you want to call it. They need low vibrational energy to survive. So what's being propagated everywhere? Low vibrational sex, promiscuity, low vibrational porn, and all the rest that goes with it, anal and all that stuff. And when you're doing that, you're giving your energy to these entities that are just outside our visible sight, and you're feeding them food basically. So there's so many levels to this as to why we shouldn't do it. I hope that's in a nutshell. So it inspired me to write a book, because I thought, well, men need to know about this, and we need to learn how we're being tricked into porn. Why is it that the only thing that's free, and there's not that much that's free these days, is pornography?
Yeah.
You have to pay for everything in this world apart from that. So that kind of tells you everything you need to know, really.
Yeah, it's really pushed, isn't it? The crazy thing is, growing up as a kid, and you see it was obviously without the internet. You see how over the years up until this point now, how extreme it's become, and I've looked into it. I think the last time we spoke, I was telling you I was looking into it because I'm at the stage in my life where I can kind of defend against it. It doesn't bother me so much, and I can sort of look at it objectively now and sort of work out what's going on here and what's happening, and looking at it now, it's just crazy, Tony. It's crazy what's become normal, like what young men would be watching as on all these websites that are just gigantic, like RedTube and Pornhub and stuff. They're some of the highest ranking websites in the world. I mean, RedTube is ranked at almost, I don't know, one of the highest websites in Australia. And you look at our websites, we're trying to get them up there, and do our best, and they're just so massive, and they're associating love with Pornhub now. There was advertisements in New York City, like it's like a dating special love thing, and it's you go on there and you have a look at this stuff, and it's basically rape. You got these dudes who look like they've got out of prison. You never see their faces. They're covered in tattoos. They got skulls all over their arms and grim reapers, and they're raping these little girls that barely look 18. They're choking them and all of this stuff. They're hitting them, and you just this is what young guys are watching and thinking that it's normal, and I think it's just unbearable. It's like, it's horrific. It's worse than any kind of horror movie. And that's the normal kind of pornography now, and it's going even further. It's just getting so extreme. It's getting it's basically snuff. But they're acting, I know, but it's I don't know what you think about this, but how it's shattering our psyche, our mind, what this is doing to our subconscious. And you got little boys in school. All the kids are watching this in school. They're watching this raping going on, and some of these porn stars, they're treated like superheroes, like they're superstars. It's there's even porn reality shows started now recently, Tony, where porn kids go in and try out and compete against each other to be porn stars.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I didn't know that. That's disgusting. I mean, we
there's
know
a doco on it.
I'll have to catch up with that. But I mean, we know that they're trying to sexualize the whole of society, I mean, you look at, I mean, kids are looking up to the likes of Rihanna, and she's making videos on S&M. So the mind control's there, for, like you say, from a very early age. And it's just completely satanic. And yeah, we really need to start calling it out as wrong, before, God knows what society is going to be like in 5-10 years time.
Oh my goodness.
It's even, some of the dances that taught as well, very seductive. There's one at the moment called the floss. I don't know if you've seen it, but kids are doing it, and it looks really overly sexual. And of course, it all ties in. This all ties in with the paedophilia agenda that's running, and they're trying to, they're trying to merge that with the transgender movement. So it's all a big, a big mess, really.
Yeah, I was really surprised when they brought in that pole dancing that strippers do in clubs. It's actually a sport now, and all the young girls got the poles there. Some of them have it at home, and they're doing this provocative pole dancing in all different positions with their legs open, and it's like treated like a sport. But yeah, I've been looking into this for years, Tony, as well, and I've done podcasts on it. How all these, obviously the Hollywood movies and the gross out comedies and even TV sitcoms and all the music videos and everything that you see, even children's cartoons, going back to Disney cartoons and famous ones, are all sexualized. Subliminal messages. It goes right back, and it's just got more extreme. And I got a little iPad there, and I take notes and watch things. So I can do these shows with guys like you, and I found it really incredible how they've sexualized some of these reality shows and TV comedies and sitcoms that are on prime time on TV that families are watching, but it's all going over their head, and they're saying hardcore pornographic wording. They're putting that into there. They're not showing the sex. They're just saying it. You know what I mean? Like in the jokes and everything. And I think some of it, I just scratch my head. I'm thinking, my God. And then you get these movies that come out of Hollywood. They're supposed to be comedies. I've noted a whole bunch of them that come out, and they come to the cinema here in Australia, and all the teenagers go and see it, and they laugh. And I've always said, I think we're lining up outside these cinemas and we're laughing at our own demise, and we just don't understand the system and what it's doing to us. We don't understand how we're captured, and some of the jokes in these comedies, it's just unbelievable. I was watching one called Bad Neighbors with Seth Rogen. He's a Jewish actor out of Hollywood, and there was jokes in this so-called comedy about babies using dildos and ejaculating on babies inside the womb. And I'm just thinking, my God, and teenagers are laughing at this and they think it's funny. And we were talking, I was talking via email about how narcissism seems to be on the rise, and all of this, and people becoming less caring and more narcissistic, and I'm saving a video this morning from YouTube, how the Illuminati, the programming is creating cold-hearted killers with all the horror movie content and everything. I know it's not pretty, but the pornography and what I said to you before, when kids are turning this on, it's not like it was in the 90s or anything like that. Now it's actually extreme rape, and it's getting worse and worse. I mean, they're actually filming these girls getting raped on camera by dozens of men, anally as well, as you said. And kids are just, what's happening here, Tony? Do you think when, say, a 10-year-old kid or a 14-year-old boy is watching such extreme sexualized material on his computer in his room, what is this doing to the brain? Here to kids, to see this violence, the violence and the whole sexual thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's, but they're exposed to, like you say, we're exposed to it at such a young age. I mean, I guess I was about 18 when the internet started coming out, and, it was freely available even then, really. It wasn't hard to access it. And yeah, it's at the click of a button. It's at your fingertips. It's whatever you want to see. There's a you know, your taste can be satisfied, and it's getting more and more distorted, more and more perverted. The girls, like you say, are getting younger, and it's something that really needs to be called out. And even like you mentioned there in children's programs, and how it all feeds into the underage stuff is. You know, you've got Family Guy, where there's actually a paedophile in that, I think, in that series. So you're exposing kids' cartoons to things like that as well at the same time.
Yes, it's crazy. It's all through the cartoons, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's madness.
So
yeah.
Yeah, so it's down to us, the men that can see it for what it is, and to really go against the grain, because you know what it's like as well. I don't know what I guess it's the same in Australia. I'm pretty sure it is, but you know, when you're a lad growing up in the UK, it's almost like how many notches you can get on your bedpost. It's so, you know. The more women you can sleep with, the better, almost, in terms of your friends. You know, it's like a pat on the back. So we have this society where promiscuity is you know, encouraged, and particularly with men, it's okay. You know, it's okay for men to do that, but women are obviously seen as sluts if they do that. So there's no kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a culpability if you do that to women. It's just encouraged. So men grow up with this already distorted view of what women are. They're viewed as just objects to kind of get our end away, for want of a better expression. And you know, that is all tying into the whole demonization and bastardization of feminine, and feminine is to come back and heal this planet and birth it in this new era of peace. And it needs the masculine, it needs the sacred masculine to shelter her, to protect her, and to certainly go against anything like this which is bastardizing her. And this is where men need to step into their masculine, and really become, you know, what our true essence really is, and that is not that women can't protect themselves, but the natural energies, the dynamics of the feminine and the masculine.
Yeah, that's right. Amen. I agree. And yeah, it's I don't know where we're going to go, Tony. I mean, thank God you guys like you are writing books, trying to educate people, but it seems, yeah, so much of the human race have lost their compassion, you know. It's all through our, you know, TV shows and the radio stations now. We've had some problems here recently where these big-mouthed radio shock jocks are getting up there and threatening to beat up families who, you know, who don't agree with them around vaccines and things like this, you know. They're getting up there every time you turn on these radio stations. They're cackling like hyenas and making fun of everybody, and everything's funny now. And you're just thinking, this isn't funny. What are these people on? You turn on these shows, it's like a carnival of madness going around and around, and they're laughing all the time. And, you know, they just keep making these silly jokes and laughing, and there's fart noises and burping and boobs, and it's really like we have de-evolved, you know. They're de-evolving, and they're just, as you know, and they're just mocking each other as they all go down the toilet. But there was a pretty incredible documentary made in 2017 called Liberated. It was the new sexual revolution, and a man wanted to look at all this, and he went on location in America where all the kids go to the spring break, and they go wild and party and have sex, you know, and he made a documentary out of it, and it's really horrifying what these kids are thinking. And he's talking to these boys on the beach, and they're just saying nobody cares, everybody watches porn, nobody wants to have a relationship, and he was just walking up and grabbing girls and getting onto them and kissing them, showing the guy, the filmmaker, how easy it was. And you had these young boys like predators going around getting young girls. They were having sex with virgins, and then they were showing the blood on the sheets in the morning and taking photos for social media and laughing at the girl's blood on the bed. and these silly girls were coming back, and these guys were making fun of them off camera. And there was just these incredible scenes where the mainstream American media got involved because there were rapes, and there was all these hundreds of kids partying on the beach, and this girl's taking off her top, and then you just see like dozens of men grabbing her and groping her, and next thing you know, they're holding down and they're raping her on the sand, and all these people around her are listening to music while it's taking place under their feet, and they're drinking and laughing, and no one stopped it or called the police. And they're talking about this kind of mentality now, that it's frightening in America, that we're not, that no one cares. It's just that's considered normal, is it? Crazy.
Well, you know what people would do now if they saw that? They'd try and get a picture on their smartphone to upload it to Facebook.
Yeah, a girl getting raped. Yeah, it's just so funny.
Yeah, I know. It's like you say that it's. I mean, every time I go back to the UK, I notice something different because I'm away a lot. So every time I go back, I mean, the first time I went back when I was living in Asia, I noticed that everyone was, they just looked sick. There was no colour in their faces, and that kind of thing. And this time around, I went back, and people are grossly overweight, and the conversations. This is the big thing that I noticed this time. The conversations are almost bordering on some like really, really, really low mental standard, like nearly bordering some kind of retardation almost.
Yeah.
And that's what's being done. It's like through media and the food, and everyone's drinking. That's something else people don't talk about enough, drinking. I mean, that's another podcast, but why do we just accept this poison with open arms? Like, doesn't matter what the occasion. Someone dies, let's get drunk. Get a new job, let's get drunk. Get married, let's get drunk. It's a weekend, let's get drunk. It's Saturday, let's get drunk. It's a football, let's get drunk. This is poison, it's poison in our bodies, it's poison in our spirits. They don't call it spirits for a reason, or they do call it for a reason. It opens us up to spirits, and we, it's like we need to really look at our habits and what we have accepted to be real, and we need to, we really need to take personal responsibility, each and every one of us, of where we're giving our energy. It's all a personal choice, and for a long time now, I've not gone anywhere near porn, and I feel better for it. I feel like I'm supporting the feminine. I'm supporting my own health, and the whole reason I've managed to write a few books last year was because that extra 25% I've got through not taking part in that stuff. So yeah, I think the men especially, I think we have a responsibility, and doing great things like you do with this podcast, and just speaking about it. I mean, like you said at the beginning, these are not subjects people want to talk to, but if we're really going to improve our world, and we're serious about bringing generations in that are going to have a better chance, and then we need to speak about these things openly, and there can be no taboo right now. We have to question everything.
Yeah, it's that's right, and it's crazy. We're in a dangerous times because our kids have been attacked in schools, even primary schools, by the LGBTQ mob. They're being over-sexualized. They're being confused about their sexual identity and who they are. They're trying to get them on all these drugs so they can change sex and all this. And we've got men being feminized. We've got women acting like men now. And drinking and going out and fighting and all this stuff. It's really crazy, and we're losing a lot of the girls too, because they're just they're watching all this pornography and they don't care anymore, and it's really crazy. And funny, just a little side note about alcohol, Tony. I do have some here and there. I think for people, the hard thing with something like alcohol is they have to either go to the extreme or they don't touch it. They can't have a little bit and just enjoy it, like I would say for people, if you have a little bit of red wine or a little glass of beer and you enjoy it, and you get a good product, organic red wine or something, and you enjoy it, you have a couple of glasses and that's it. But if you're drinking more, like you said, for every occasion, then there lies the problem. And this is the thing with humans. We can't learn to enjoy things and know when to stop. And that's addiction and why it's so powerful. But I did a podcast with Jim West, and I was always wondering about Tony with the beer, because it's making men obese, sort of, in a way. It's making, when men drink a lot of beer, they get the beer bellies and the love handles and the man boobs, and they get overweight. And can
I just interject there as well?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's important because there's also estrogen. You talk about feminizing the male. There's the main female hormone, estrogen, is in alcohol. It's in beer.
In the hops, that's where I was getting to.
Sorry, I stole your thunder there.
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah.
No, it's a little known thing, because people always talk about the carbohydrates and the kilojoules of the beer, but I always thought it was hormonal. That's all. And I was talking to Jim West about it on a podcast, and we found out that the hops are like the most potent source of estrogen, plant. Estrogen, the female hormone known, and so I think I've sort of got right off that. I think it's crazy. And I think that's part of. I think that's known because it was never used in beer in the old times. They kind of forced it in, and now the men are guzzling all this really hoppy beer that's so bitter and hoppy, and it's feminizing them and making them get all the weird body shape as well. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and also because it's in a lot of other things, namely plastic as well. It's hugely in plastic and food, and there's even research done now that women are consuming so much estrogen that they conceive a male baby that will, in the womb, start to develop female tendencies, and that it's all to do with, and you'll know yourself, to distort the natural essence of the male and the female, to knock out the male of the protector, the action taker, and to knock out that energy. Because if you knock out the male energy, then the whole place becomes easier to control, and then you can distort the female energy and bastardize that with very little kind of resistance. So they want to knock out that, and at the same time, like you say, turning females more masculine, then you're also distorting that one as well, and then controlling society becomes a cinch. And so porn really plays in with the whole demonization of the feminine. So
it's definitely 100% demonizing women, and you got so many. I've seen a bunch of documentaries. One was from the UK. I've seen a few that have been shown where filmmakers are following all these young girls from around the world, Tony, into the porn industry in America. It's crazy. Following them there, one after the other, it's just endless. And now, because they're becoming so desensitized in college and they want a few extra pennies, they'll go and do it because it just doesn't matter anymore. Their body's being exploited and abused. It's absolutely crazy, and I don't even know how many articles I've saved over the years. I got one here from the UK about children as young as 8 admit that they have internet porn addictions, and they're watching it on their smartphones and tablets, and it's just so easy. They're saying here to get these images and videos. It's, as you said, it's free. It's crazy. And once, I guess, Tony, men, I've read stuff on that where married men, even, they start looking at it, they start surfing the web for pornography. They can be on there for hours and hours and hours while their wife's at home and their kids are there as well, and they're looking at this stuff and they can't stop.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a reason behind why men do it. It's partly because we're trained to, and we're kind of taught to live from our our penis, basically, from when we're kids. But when you do that, it's always masking up something, because when you ejaculate, you get a very temporary dopamine hit, or a serotonin hit. So it's a very temporary feel good. So when you masturbate, it's actually you're doing it because it's hot. It's uncovering. There's something in you that you're not happy with. There's something about your life that you're not happy with. Maybe it's a childhood wound that you've not dealt with, or there's something that there to mask the. You're doing it to mask something. So people that develop addictions around that, it's always good. And if anyone listens to this, if they have, it's always good to think, why do I do that? Why is it that I need to do that? What is it masking? Because it's normally masking something deeper as well. Like any firefighter we have, like, you know, drug addict, alcohol addict, you know, anything like that is always masking something.
Yeah, that's right. And I had a friend, I'll say that, Tony, through the 90s, who was into Buddhism and went to India for long periods of time, studying over in the ashrams there and all of this, you know, and always had all these books on, is it Taoism?
Yes.
I had a couple of books on that by an author called Daniel Reed, on health and long life and sex and all of this. And I was reading a lot of them. And it was so interesting, all of that, what you were talking about before, the energy thing. And I think this is something that we're not taught about in sexual education, and men don't know about, because I've read articles where at the point of ejaculation for a man, there's this massive energy loss that goes out of their bodies. And I know as men get older, it becomes harder and harder for the body to make those fluids up, and it becomes the same as your body making blood, you know, and men's health deteriorates. They just fall apart as they just keep wasting this stuff. But it's incredibly potent as well. Looking here, it's composed of over 200 separate proteins and vitamins and minerals, vitamin C, calcium, chlorine, citric acid, fructose, lactate, magnesium, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, B12, Bs, and zinc. A huge amount of zinc goes out when a man ejaculates, and zinc is absolutely vitally important for men. And this is only a small part of it, and that's going out all the time. To think that it's going out while watching pornography without any care in the world is pretty frightening, Tony. What do you think? What's your idea of what this does to a man's health over years, say, as they go into... I mean, when they're young, dumb, and full of cum, as they say, 18-year-olds.
Only in Australia, obviously.
Yeah, that's what they say, you know. And 21-year-olds or whatever don't care. But I mean, as a man gets older, and this is a life force that needs to be protected. Obviously, right? That's what you're saying. Yeah, and it makes you feel better and gives you so much clarity and so much energy, and you get sick lesser and you feel better.
Yes, I mean, I can only comment from my own experience. I mean, it's not like I've written a book or I'm talking about this without trying it. You know, I just don't do that anymore, because if I do that, I can feel it. I feel it. If that goes, I feel lethargic, tired. With that extra 25%, I feel, you know, my mind works clearer. I just feel... I've noticed I have more hair growth as well when I go prolonged periods. There's actually talk of a natural attraction that occurs because females, and if you're doing it for this, you're doing it for the wrong reason, let me tell you that. But females can pick up that you have more of your life force intuitively on a subconscious level, because the females want the strongest male to make the baby with, and they can... You know, you can walk into a room and you can see that you get more kind of respect even from other males. It's really, really weird. That's another thing with it. But I mean, even, you know, sex itself, I mean, we could do another podcast on it. It's just a massive vortex. We don't understand how powerful sex is. Sex between a loving couple can bring down essence energy into this world. It can be used for manifestation, but you know what they've done is they've distorted it into low vibration, quick bang, no connection, which feeds the other side of it, the demonic and the bottom feeders. But if we truly understood how powerful and important sex actually was, we'd be a lot more careful about who we did it with. And, you know, the fact that you can be courted for life with people, once you have sex with them, you can take on part of their karma. The females actually can take on up to 50% of the man's karma. So that's something else that ties into it. And we're just not thinking about what we're doing. We're going around this Tinder society, you know, swipe right for a quick bang. Most men aren't interested in real connection, and the women are on there because, you know, they want connection, and it's just a complete mess. We need to start understanding what sex actually is, and we need to really treat it with the respect that for the actual act actually is. It's to create life. And I'd even go as far as to say that maybe men are only supposed to ejaculate if there's an agreement that they want to bring a child into this world with the female partner. That's how far I'm going with it now.
It creates life, doesn't it?
It creates life.
A human being, human life with a soul.
And imagine, right? And I'm just like, this is just a hunch, right? If you're a man and you hold on to your seed, and you use that ejaculation to create a baby, I would hunch that baby would be stronger in the womb than a man's baby that's watching porn every week, because that baby is gonna by nature have more life force energy. And I don't even know if what I'm saying there is true. It's just coming out as what I'm hunching as to be true. So yeah, we really need to get to understand the power of sex and what's going on here, and we need to reject, and especially as men, we need to reject this promiscuity that's bandied about. And you know, if that means like our mates down the pub saying, oh, you know, I banged her the other week, it's like, stop. You know, we need to stop hanging around with these people.
That's right.
Because, you know, they're just it's just satanic mindset. So, you know, it's not what people probably want to hear, and it's not easy. But if we're serious about going to where we want to go and being a truly conscious and moral civilization, then I think porn is one of the first things that's got to go.
Yeah. If I'm ever around those kinds of men or groups and they're drinking and talking about that, you know, I can disappear into the background so quick. You don't even know I'm there. You know, I just fade away. I don't have anything to say to them. I had that, Tony, over the years, as we talked on our last podcast, how you went through all the working years and were unhappy and didn't know what to do with your life, you know, and you got bogged down in the day-to-day work and traffic and stress and everything. You know, I had that years ago, just working in these places that become like prisons, you know, and you're working in there every day, and these guys, you know, grown men are just unbelievable. Talking about all this dicks and boobs and, you know, jism and porno sort of related stuff, and laughing, and as I said, the farting and all this stuff. I was talking to Jim about that on a podcast, that, you know, you do these serious podcasts and you get them on YouTube and you try so hard to get people to view them and share them, and you go on YouTube and you type in, you look for like farting. If you try that and you look at people up there farting on YouTube, there's millions of hits. And it's this really low, as you were saying before, this low level way of thinking that the culture has, that they don't want to, maybe it's a way, Tony, of not wanting to deal with their lives around them, so they sort of regress into this childlike sort of everything's funny and making fun of everything because they don't want to deal with the real stuff, you know.
It's the whole YOLO thing, isn't it? YOLO, you only live once. That's what people have bought into. You
just live and die, so it doesn't matter, you know. Might as well just make a mockery of everything. And it's crazy, and it's absolutely madness that you talk about the seed and how important it is, and for men to look after themselves, and how this reflects our health, because all that semen that's going out through masturbation and not caring is just going to turn you into an old man.
Yeah,
It really
exactly.
just makes you fall apart, and you get all these terrible health conditions, and you get weaker, and your bones as well. It's taking
Yep.
calcium and all this stuff out of your bones, and it's so potent. Just 1 teaspoon of semen,
Mm.
just 1 teaspoon is like blood, and it's
Yep.
a glass of blood, Tony. And your body has to struggle to make this up as you get older, and if your diet's not well, these nutrients, your body will start to pull them from your bones and other places to make the semen up, and then it goes out again and again and again. And it's
Yep.
horrifying to think that young men are just sitting on the computer with a camera, Tony, by the way, a
Yep.
camera,
Yep.
right on the
And
computer. And
throwing it into a sock.
yeah, and then, playing with themselves, and it's going on the floor or whatever, and then they're turning it off, and it's just such a sad, cold thing, and they're doing it behind their partners' backs, and it's what do you think, Tony? We've got a little bit of time left, a little bit here. What do you think that it is about that grabs men at a young age? Because a young guy, his hormones starts to change. He starts
Yep.
to become attracted to girls, and all that starts happening
Yep.
as a teenager, and he goes into high school and all this stuff. How do it's weird. They just seem to, instead of having healthy relationships and learning, you get pulled into the porno all the time. It starts
Yep.
off with all the catalogs, and then the movies. You got the Playboy and the Penthouse magazines, and then you got the
Yep.
harder ones, and then it just gets harder, 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 harder until what we have today.
Yep.
It just
Yep.
grabs them, doesn't it? As a male, grabs them.
Yeah, it's kind of like an indoctrination, and I guess
Indoctrination, yeah.
yeah, I guess once you start doing it, it becomes habitual. It's like, once a day or twice a day for some people. It's like,
Oh shit.
it's like going to the toilet when you get up in the morning for some people, and once it becomes habitual like that, it's very, very hard to break. So and then because no one ever calls it out, you just, people just think, well, yeah, I do it once, twice a day, or however it may be. So no one really bats an eyelid to it. So, we are the eyelid, so to speak.
Jeez, it's crazy. Yeah, I know. And these men are reading about porn addiction, and a lot of these men and kids, they said they just became numb.
Yep.
After a while, it just isn't anything, and it doesn't mean anything, but they're still doing it.
Yeah.
What is all this stuff, Tony? It's gross to talk about. What is all this stuff in pornography movies where they ejaculate on the women? What does this mean? Do you think? Is this just about humiliation?
Yeah, I feel like it is. I feel like it's like satanic
something
mockery.
humiliation. Yeah, like a ritual
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, it's like a ritualistic, and yeah, I mean, I think back to even just thinking about it there now, it's just disturbing imagining the scenes, and yeah, I think you're right on that. I think, some kind of ritualistic, and I don't think that anal is supposed to be. I feel like that lets in some kind of distorted energies, and because sex in itself is ritualistic, I guess, in a way. And yeah, I mean, you could go really deep with this, but I feel like probably some of the things in sex that are put out there are letting some real, nasty energies and stuff, because the more distorted it is, the more distorted the energy that can come in. So yeah, it's I would go along with that. Some form of satanic mockery against the feminine.
Yeah. It's terrible. It's terrible to think how your parents were and your grandparents were, and that kind of bond, and you think of that wonderful sexual attraction, Tony, that's been swiped away. That connection between a man and woman, and that love for life, and being married and spending a life with a partner and having children and watching them grow and being a family. There's this terrible attack on the family unit now, where they're just making it seem evil, and it's amazing that attraction's gone, Tony, from what I can see. The attraction that you have to a woman or a man, the sweaty palms, the nervousness, shortness of breath, heart beating, and then meeting someone. Yeah, it's all just porn on the first date now.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
want to get to know you, like give me a blowjob,
Yeah, but I think you hit on it when you mentioned the word that you hit on there is connection. They don't want true connection, because true connection during sex is a completely different ball game. You know, bringing down love, you know, pure love in its purest form, is very, very powerful, and you know that will echo out on into the ether, and that shifts, you know, that causes tears into things and shifts people, and you know just raises things up a little notch. And so that's it's like I said at the start, it's so multifaceted that you know that's another huge reason that the low vibrational stuff's put out there, because
Yeah.
and the Tinder society's out there, so there's no connection. People are not connecting on a deep level where they once used to, maybe more, maybe not. It's always been a little bit like this, animalistic, but it's kind of, you know, getting out of that, you know, animal mind, and realizing that we're not animals. You know, we need to harness this energy in ways in which we can benefit not only our own lives but the world, and become real men. You know, it's all about becoming a real man, and I don't mean that in a, you know, caveman banging the chest, but the type of man that stands up for his community, that stands up for things that are right, that has morals, that has integrity, that rejects the things that he knows that's bad for society and speaks out against them. And that's what we need. We need men to be real men now, and stop sending the dick pictures to women over Facebook and all that shit that's going on as well.
Oh my
that
God.
women hate. Yeah. So, and it's, you know, I find it quite embarrassing to be a man these days. Actually, if I'm being really honest,
Yeah.
there's very few men. You know, people like yourself. You know, it's an honour to stand by you and some of my other friends that do this work. But you know, as you were talking earlier, the guys down the pub farting, and you know, just talking about how many women they've banged at the weekend. It's shameful, and we should be ashamed as men.
Yeah. Yeah, no one wants to have a real conversation anymore. They think that you're queer or something, or something wrong with you, you're mentally ill. If
Yeah,
you change
exactly.
the conversation, you know, and just make it more interesting, no one seems interesting. Not everybody. I mean, we've got a lot of listeners here. I just mean in general what you're saying there. Yeah, sometimes it's very hard. And yeah, I don't know. I guess we just keep moving forward, Tony, and keep talking about it, because I think this is one of those things, and it's great that you've done this book, that it's happening, it's in your face, it's there. Our children are watching it. The school kids are doing it. And we're getting more violence as well. There's more violence happening all around the world with young men attacking girls. There's more rape and all this stuff.
Yep.
It's in your face, but no one kind of wants to talk about this insidious poison. I mean, from what I know, I think in Iceland that's illegal, pornography.
Is it? Oh,
yes.
right. I never knew that.
You can check into it. I may be wrong, but from what I've heard in Iceland, it's illegal.
That's good.
I think this is what needs to happen, Tony. I really do. Yeah. I think maybe they can create another web or something, another web where people have to log in and they can look at it there. But I think the internet in countries, they need to stop this, because it's getting out of control and it's getting really satanic and dark.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
and
the problem
can't
is
have kids watching that because there's no filters.
No, but the problem is they want kids watching that.
Of
you
course.
know yourself.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to be
Yeah.
thinking if I was living in a better world, you know. I have hope. I'm delusional.
Back over in Utopia, it's been banned. But yeah, I know what you mean, mate.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's you know, we just have to speak out about this, and you know, it's
the government's not addressing it, Tony, are they? That's what I mean.
No,
they care about everything else, but not that. It's crazy.
Yeah, but the good news is, like, if you go on YouTube and you type in NoFap, you'll see thousands of videos of men that are waking up to this.
Great.
So to finish on a good note, people are starting to realise, hang on, this is wrong. We need more people, we need more men, but it's happening. And you know, podcasts like this and talking about it and discussing it openly, and there is a movement with this now, and it is starting to get bigger, and you know, it's going to grow exponentially now, and you know, watch this space. I think I don't know if it's going to go away overnight, but you know, hopefully there will be a new kind of energy coming in where we do start to think, hang on, this is wrong.
Yeah, nothing feels better than love, does it?
No.
When you love another human being, it's such an amazing feeling, and we don't want to lose that and have it swiped away, and
Absolutely.
have all all that just flushed away. It's really sad.
Yep.
It's really important to love and respect our women. I really mean that. It really, really is for our young men too, and
Yep.
vice versa. So. Great work, Tony. Your website is transcendingtimes.org, and we're going through this podcast just talking about your books, and you've got a few of them to go through. So next time you're comfortable and we can plug in, we might talk about another one of your books and continue there, connecting the dots. I'm really interested in The New Age is the New Cage. I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about that, because that's some more trickery going on. But this book we've been talking about is Plugged into Porn by Tony Sayers, and I'll put those links up on the website. People can get the books from Amazon on Kindle and also on audiobooks, Audible, which is fantastic way. That's sort of something I enjoy more. I'm going to do that for myself. So great work, Tony. Anything you want to mention before we plug out today?
No, all I would say is to any men listening to this, right, and they've thought, I might give that a go. There are some hills, there are some bumps on the road with this. It's not always easy, but if you stick with it, I guarantee you will get another 25% out of your day, and that will catapult you forward. So just try it, and if anyone wants to contact me or got any questions, like you say, you can contact me through my website, transcendingtimes.org, or Facebook or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a male and you have a partner that you love or you're married to, start to making love and not ejaculating and saving it. You'll feel like Superman. It's really incredible, and you'll both be happy. It's an amazing thing. You don't have to do it.
Yes, exactly.
You don't have to. You just think you do. You've been conditioned to think that. You've got to masturbate since you're a young age, and you don't have to. So, important book for men, Tony, and it's a guide to breaking the bad habits of pornography and over masturbation for men, plugged into porn. And I'll put that link up, and people can go to your website and buy that book if they want to find out how they can get into this deeper, because it's all in the book. We want people to get that book. That's why we're doing the episode. So I'll put all that information up and shoot that through to you on Facebook when it's ready. And we'll talk again soon. Happy travels. Stay safe and keep going, man, on this path. We need you.
And thanks for everything you do, Adam. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Okay. Take care. Bye.